And we are live, queuing up the theme song, action.
Yeah, it's time to get real. Oh, yeah. It's a new experience.
Reality.
If your ears open for this one. You got a question for Aaron? And trying to get some answers, baby.
Now we can real.
You're gonna feel good now.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Reality Spirituality. I'm your host, global happiness specialist, inner peace practitioner, oracle, mother, but most importantly, a student, ongoing student. And when I say happiness, let me be very clear. I'm not talking about something happens and now I'm happy. This happiness that I'm referring to is a personal vibration, a personal energy of contentment, of peace, contentment, regardless of what happens. And it's a practice. Inner peace is a practice skill. Happiness is a practice skill. Contentment is a practice. And the world sells, somebody told me yesterday that the world sells stories, very true, to programmed people. And we're going to talk a lot about the programming, because the programming is really the cause of all the suffering. It's what the mind comes up with. In fact, my favorite quote these days, look at this one. You are not experiencing life. You are experiencing your mind. Don't you love that? You are not experiencing life. You are experiencing your mind. And that is the key, knowing the difference between this mind, this ego, this constant chatter, and reality. And believing the mind and believing these thoughts and believing these stories. You are not your thoughts. You are not your stories. With all of that, when I talk about happiness, I've been teaching these classes, The Truth About Happiness, for over 15 years, and California, Oregon, and now I'm in Nevada. It's the same thing. It's the same. It may be a totally different group of people, but it is the same. It is the same. Conclusion. It is the same energy. I mean, the practice, when I say happiness is a practice skill, all of the practice, look at this hairdo today. You know, this is just waking up and do. Anyway, the practice is all done in the mirror. And not a lot of people are rushing to the mirror to say, well, let's see, what can I do? How can I transcend? How can I be different? But I'm here to tell you, at 70 years old, did I say that out loud? 70 years old, that this practice, that this realization, that the awareness and just being conscious and separating the mind from my true identity, which is consciousness, having a human experience, when you can practice separating all of that. And when I say separating, I mean, you're here, mind, wait, where's the hand? You're here, way over there. The mind is brutal, people. The mind needs more than anything else to be fed, to be fueled, to be listened to be focused. And that is the root of all suffering, discontentment. All of it is what's going on inside of here. And questioning Question these thoughts, question the stories. The belief that what is going on in here is the truth is so far beyond not the truth. Anyway, let me get to today's topic. When I say I've been teaching the classes for over 15 years in 3 separate states, it always ends up, the class always ends up the same, meaning there are very few people that are willing to do the difficult, hard, uncomfortable, brutal, going through storms. In fact, going through a storm is resisted. Buttons, triggers are resisted. And I'm here to tell you that whatever is resisting, whatever you are resisting is the practice is to run towards it. I'm learning that about myself. I can't even believe this. Before I get to today's topic, I just want to share one of my personal challenges. There is a gentleman in California. He was trained. If you're in a different age group, you probably won't even know who this is. Lord, being 70. Anyway, his name is Vidal Sassoon, and he was very, very popular. He had a lot of salons in California. I don't know if he had salons all over the country, maybe, but definitely in California where I used to live. And this gentleman who was Japanese descent was trained by Vidal Sassoon. And I don't know how I found him, don't remember, but the most precisioned, perfect haircuts you could ever imagine. And it's not easy cutting curly hair. It is a whole, you really have to be skilled. Curly hair is not easy to cut. This guy, what was his first name? Can't even believe that. I'll remember it in a minute. He would cut my hair, and it would take at least an hour to cut. And I had more hair than I have now, but an hour. And he would cut it. It seemed like he would cut one strand. It was so perfect. Well, even when I moved, I would go back to California. Even when I moved to Oregon or moved to Nevada, I would go back to California to get my hair cut by this guy. What the hell is his name? It'll come to me. This is my point. The last time, which was probably 3 years ago, I contacted him. I'm going to be in California. And he said, he returned the text and he says, well, I retired and I moved to Japan. There goes my perfect haircuts. Retired and moved to Japan. Now, my best friend reminded me yesterday. He says, you haven't had a good haircut in years. There is either it's cut wrong, and I'm describing everything. Inverted triangle, stacked, even. No ups, no going, no short in the front, short in the back, long in the front. Anyway. And he said that to me yesterday about how many bad haircuts that I'd been complaining about over the years. So I just got another haircut a week ago. And I found this woman because there was a gentleman working at Costco, and he had the perfect cut. This is the cut that I wanted. I saw the cut that I wanted on his head. I even went up to him and I said, who cuts your hair? He gave me her number. She already knew the haircut that I wanted because the guy that was working at Costco that gave me her number has been going to her since he was a little boy. He's probably in his 20s now, at least 10, 15 years. So I knew the cut. I knew the shape. I want it cut just like Cameron's hair. Okay. Well, of course, it didn't go that way. This is my point. Rebecca will find something wrong. This person named Rebecca L. Norrington will find something wrong with every moment, and has found something wrong with every single haircut for years. Corrected. I just let it grow. You can't find anybody to cut. I mean, just don't know how many people I've had, probably at least 5. Oh, there was one guy, and then I'll get to the topic. There was one guy, I saw him at the gym, and he came up to me and he says, you need a haircut. I said, you're right. I haven't found anybody to cut my hair in a long time. And then he says, I know exactly how to cut your hair. Now Rebecca gets all excited. Finally, good haircut. You just don't know how many times, hold on, how many times this has happened. So many times. Expectations of a great haircut just to be disappointed. Back to today's topic. But that is the topic. And that is when I say separate yourself from this human identity. There is a separation that has to happen. Some people call it the ego death. Some people, whatever you want to call this separating from the mind. It is a real thing. It is a real process of letting go of all of this, not allowing this to have any power. Okay, let's get to today's topic because it's a big one. Okay, that's my sister on today at 2:00. Okay. So listen to this. In my lifetime, there has been two people that were dying in a hospital. Well, actually, one was at home that were dying. I came to visit, had different conversations with different people, different times. And then the very next day after my visit, they died. That's happened twice. 2 people, when I was living in Roseburg, Oregon, were both given a 6 more months to live, a life diagnosis of you have 6 more months. Both had cancer. One had brain cancer. One had, I believe it was liver cancer. Hey, good morning, Jay. Good morning. We're getting into today's topic right now. Good timing. So one had brain cancer and one had liver cancer, and they were both given 6 months to live. And I've talked about it before, and the gentleman that was given 6 months to live, he was very angry until the last day. The woman, her name was Tina, she had a totally different mindset. She was married. She was concerned about her husband, how he would go on after her death. She even, listen to this, and I've shared this before, but she even wrote a letter to him that she wanted him to find after she died. And in that letter, she's telling me this, in that letter, she's talking about how she wants him to go on. She wants him to date. She wants him to keep living. She even suggested a couple of women that were her friends that he would be compatible with. I mean, can you imagine? Fast forward to, and that was in 2018 or 19. Anyway, fast forward to 2026. And I don't know where this program line came, but it talks about death, and death happens in threes. Well, I've gotten to my third person in in this year. Okay, so at the beginning of the year in February, and I wasn't told that he was dying, but there were two best men at when I was married, two best men. And one of them, of course, both of them were my ex-husband. We're still friends. My ex-husband's name is Steve, and we're still friends. I just talked to him a couple of days ago. But he had two best friends, and one of his best friends died in February in California. And I didn't know that he was in hospice. I spoke with him probably 3 months before the fatal diagnosis. And I do remember thinking or being inspired to contact him and just talk with him again, but I never did. And never did get a chance to say anything other than that last conversation, which was probably about an hour. We're doing a lot of catching up. So he died in February. There was another gentleman who died in January of this year, 2026. He, for all that I knew, was very healthy, and his health, I know he got the vaccine and he had complications because of that, the COVID vaccine, and he had complications because of that. And his health just started deteriorating. I'm not making any claims, but his health started deteriorating pretty rapidly in maybe 3 months. He knew he was dying. So he died in January. The best man, one of the best men at my wedding, which was in 1980, Lord have mercy, died in February. He was 72. And then this week, there is a woman on the OWL app that I'm on. It's spelled OWWLL. It's a networking app. And so I've known her probably 4 years. And we've met a couple of times. She lived in Vegas. We met a couple of times. In fact, I have her picture here. And during a meeting last week, an OWL meeting, someone said that she was sick. And we live in the same city. And so I said, well, I can go and visit. I didn't know how sick, but from more conversation, it was said that it doesn't look good. And I had no idea what that meant. I don't know if it was cancer. I didn't have any clue. But I said, I can go and visit. Went to visit her that day, which was a Wednesday. So Wednesday? Yeah, it was a Wednesday. In fact, let me show you her picture. I took a picture. Hold on. Hold on. Photos. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Okay. So this is inside of her hospital room. I don't know if you can see this. Yeah, you can see it. You see this picture? Yeah. Okay, so that's inside of her hospital room on Wednesday. Now, I don't know if you can see. Yeah. Can you feel her energy? Her energy was really high. Her energy did not feel like death. Her energy, it was normal energy, living energy. When I say, and I just got chills. When I say living, I didn't feel any energy of death. I didn't feel that at all. And come to find out that they told her that day, I don't know if it was that day or a couple of days before, but her sons were in the room and she was leaving the hospital the hospital that I visited her in, to go to hospice. They found cancer, liver cancer. Cancer had spread in different organs in her body, and they just told her that there's nothing that they can do but give her a death sentence. And we've talked about this dying before, and the 5 most common regrets of the dying. But this woman was given a death sentence. You have a certain amount of time left on this planet. You have a certain amount of time left that you're going to be breathing. I mean, I can't even imagine. However, her energy did not reflect that at all. And one of the things, if I had been alone with her, I would have asked her a lot more questions. But one of the things that I wanted to talk about is the response from people in her community, which, when I say her community, I'm talking about the owl community, the community that we were all a part of. There's probably about almost 10,000 of us on this app. And her being on the app for at least 4 years, myself included, you talk to people more than once and you get to know them a little bit better. And she is from Oregon too. This is my point. In the community, people that I've talked to are not used to, are not comfortable with talking about death. This is what I'm finding. And when I say uncomfortable, I mean uncomfortable to the point of I will talk about anything else, but I ain't talking about dying. I'm not talking about my death. I'm not talking about your death. And my question is, why isn't, well, I only have a limited perspective to the people that I have met and in being in the United States. And death is not a topic that is shared unless somebody knows, unless somebody has just experienced death personally, is really not talked about. It is a hush hush, be quiet, stay quiet, very uncomfortable. And why is that? Well, the answer is because of all the programming surrounding this ending of this human life, ending of this human body, ending of the human, because we're energy, and energy does not die. It cannot be created or destroyed. So we are energy. We're just changing into different forms. This is just a human form. Who knows what's going to happen in the future, which is, when I say in the future, who knows is going to happen in another dimension. How about that? Because according to the scientists, the future and the past, everything's happening at the same time. But that's another topic. Back to death and the topic of death. 3 people called me personally. I got to stop giving out my cell phone number. I digress. 3 people called me personally, and they did not know what to do or what to say to this woman who has been given a death sentence. Understandably. In fact, one person who father died, mother died recently, I would say within the last couple of years, had cancer, and just the statement was, I don't know what to say to her. What do you talk about? What do you say to someone that is actively dying? And my answer is anything you want. Is this program of now I have to treat you differently, or now I have to get into this state of fear, regret. Who knows what it is? Who knows what all that is? But can we scratch that? For the last probably 2 decades, I've had conversations with my son, I only have one, about my death and how, and different ways that he is going to be open to responding to. Meaning there's more than one way to respond to someone, especially someone close to you, dying. And energy is so powerful. You can feel another person's caution. You can feel another person's reluctance to talk openly. You can you can feel it. And when someone told me that I don't know, I've never talked to somebody who is dying. I've never talked to someone who is dying. And my question is, why not? I teach a fitness class a couple of times a week, and it's at an assisted living facility, and it's also so for 20 minutes and the class is in a chair, so we're not doing boot camp, we're not running miles, we're sitting in a chair, and you can get your heart rate up sitting in a chair, believe it or not. But for the first 20 minutes, I'm in the memory care section. And everybody in that section, there's probably 10 to 12 people that are captive audiences. They're there, but there is absolutely nothing behind the eyes. They are existing in the moment. They are existing, excuse me, in a dream state. They are existing in a reality that is not a reality. It's their reality. They can mimic me if I'm moving my hands like this or like this. They can mimic me. They can smile. They can wave. They can, some of them can have a conversation, but it usually it doesn't make any sense. But I say that they are the walking, talking dead. They have to be fed. They have to be bathed. They have to be dressed. Someone was telling me, you come in as a baby and you leave as a baby. They have to be cleaned. And this is something that just hit me last week. They were telling me, and I don't even know if I want to share it. It's in other words, they do whatever they want, whether it's picking here, picking there, eating it. You pick here, eating it. It is a state where the mind is just off. This is my point. Having any kind of topic, having any kind of subject matter, focusing on anything that cannot be brought to the light, having any kind of shame, resistance, don't want to, can't do that today, is infringing on your contentment and your happiness. I'm not saying that somebody dies in your family or somebody that you start dancing a jig. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am telling you is that the more you are, scratch that, the more I am comfortable being around, talking to people that may have a diagnosis that they're not going to be around long. It's an easy conversation. And so my question to you is, how easy is it for you to talk about death, your death, the death of a loved one? How easy, and not only easy, are you able to even make a joke? I know, shoot me now, a joke. My son and I can talk about my death and laugh. The programming, any kind of programming that is in the dark or in the corner or not discussed, know that is there to keep me, I'm going to speak, to keep me from more light. There is not one topic, there is not one program that I am going to allow, when I discover it, just like the whole program of a bad haircut. I'm telling you right now, it is anytime you're acting robotically, anytime you're acting on instinct, anytime you're just acting, and it's a pattern, know that is a deep program that needs to be uprooted. If you want to experience more the energy of contentment, if you want to experience that more, any topic. And death can not only come with the physical death of someone. The death of a relationship can feel like a real death. The death of a relationship, even the death of a relationship, the ability to sail through that with peace, with a sense of peace, only comes from deprogramming, only comes from not allowing the program to dig in and on a loop. You don't know how many times that bad haircut kept coming. Well, I told her how I wanted it cut, and then she didn't. And I had an example, and she just didn't listen. And why didn't I say stacked? Why did I say even? I mean, it just doesn't end. And I've been practicing this shit for decades. The key is to separate yourself from the mind. This program is deep. This program is not easy to pull up. This program is not easy to recognize. Why? Because the world says it's normal to feel uncomfortable. Well, you could have a conversation about death when you were a youngster, when you are a toddler, before the other deeper programming happened. and it wouldn't be a problem. So go back to, and it wouldn't be a challenge. So go back to 2-year-old, 3-year-olds and explaining, well, I'm here today and I'm not going to be here tomorrow. Explain that to a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old. And you explain it in a way that's, hey, this is part of life. So pleasure knowing you, pleasure being in your life, pleasure being your father, pleasure being your mother. You'll be fine. Trust, surrender. Don't rely on the mind. You're going to be fine. Can you imagine having those conversations at that young age? So, regardless if you have children, I promote having these discussions with, even if it's an adult child, especially if it's an adult child. But people are not having these conversations. And the person that told me, I've never talked to somebody that's dying before, guess what? They have children, young children. And so if anything happened to him, just like most, if anything happened to the children, if anything happened to him, heaven forbid, not calling that out, but who's gonna be there to, who has the ability to have a conversation, and a peaceful conversation, a productive conversation, a conversation that is going to end in a feeling of after someone has died. Who's going to do that? Who's going to be able to do that? The world doesn't teach that. The world teaches, oh my God, let's go through all the programming, please. R.I.P. Sorry for your loss. Deepest sympathy. You got to wear black. You got to have your head down. You got to start crying. You have to go into shock. You have to grieve, which is another program. Grieving is another program. You see why I don't have any friends? Grieving is another program. You tell a 2-year-old, you tell a 1-year-old, hey, guess what? Both your parents just got killed in a car crash. Maybe that's a little bit harsh. Maybe. Yeah, what are you going to do? These people that are in the memory care section, and I call them the walking dead. I made a vow. I still believe it or not, I still can't predict the future, and I can't control the future either, but I definitely made a vow that isn't going to happen. I'm going to have my stuff tighten up. So when if I do start losing it mentally, I'm checking out. However, I do know that I have no control over the end of my life, just like I had. I did have control. I did decide to come here. Do I have control? No, do I have control? No, I don't have control. I do have to live out my destiny. Let's just hope that my destiny and the plan is the same. Because if God wants me in a memory care, being fed and being bathed and being clothed, what can I do? Mothers. Woo! Wrapping up the topic. This having a conversation about death is very normal, is very sane, is very appropriate, is very not a program. Very not a program, is not a program. And the more I am prepared. And when I say prepared, I mean knowing what the mind is going to do, which is causing all kinds of conflict, all kinds of turmoil, all kinds of unrest. That's what the mind does. Dig deep, look in the mirror, figure out, scratch that, discover, do a deep dive to what feels uncomfortable, what you don't want to talk about, what you don't want to do, and let's make a beeline to it, which includes having a conversation about death. The more preparation, the more practice, the more relaxed. I couldn't get over Connie when I saw her on Wednesday. However, she did say, which I didn't mention, she did say that it hasn't really hit her yet. This dying, because this year there's been, so she's going to be the third one, people that have known that they are dying. And if I find out or know that I'm dying, I definitely do not want to be surrounded by, visited by anybody with this energy of, oh, you poor, no jokes, no laughing. Don't visit me. I'm going to be laughing it up, dancing, the most irreverent activity, behavior on the planet. It's going to be horrible. It's going to be terrible. Yeah, life, after this life, there is a human death, not a spiritual death, not a soul death, not a consciousness death. It's just a human death. And recycled. That's today's topic. I know it's not a topic of normal discussion, but death and happiness are related. And unless you can come to terms and be okay without any kind of fear surrounding death, there's always going to be a cloud. There's always going to be some kind of, what do I want to say? Muddied water. It's not going to be clear. Muddied water. No fear of death, no fear of tomorrow, no fear of anything, no future fear. And let me just say this too. The practice is living in the moment. When I practice living, being, staying in the moment and following all inspiration, life doesn't get any better. And it doesn't matter at all what I'm doing. It matters what state of mind I'm in. What state of mind and what entity am I? Which entity am I focused on? Am I giving power to? Am I giving a voice to? Am I allowing to dictate my behavior? Which entity, which voice? So death is another, and grieving, and the whole topic is just another programmed response. Scratch that, is a program reaction. And it's not easy. But that's it. That's all for today's show. Unless you have questions in the chat, you can ask a question. And if you follow or are in agreement that this topic of death, why is it so avoided? Other than the programming, it's the only reason. The programming is the cause of all the suffering. Whew. All right. Well, you've been listening to Reality Spirituality Radio with yours truly, global happiness specialist. Follow me on X at RL Norrington. Reality Spirituality is heard every Sunday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. My Instagram handle is Reality Spirituality. Go on YouTube, like and subscribe. I have a few shorts, a few videos. The channel is growing organically. My website, RebeccaNorrington.com, is getting a revamp, updated, RebeccaNorrington.com, but it's not revamped yet. My first book, Reality Spirituality, The Truth About Happiness, was published in 2014. And my latest book, hold on. Latest book, it's called Programmed for Unhappiness, Exposing the Untold Truth. It is on Amazon. And in this book, I list 56 program behaviors that subtract from your happiness, subtract from your energy of contentment. And I also list 26 behaviors that add, but 56 program behaviors. And one of the program behaviors, we've already talked about it, is this inability to accept, talk about, navigate, be at peace with, be at ease with death. That's another program. Until next week, my dear audience, I want you to remember who you are. You are a physical extension of the universe. Your conscious energy, which is always evolving, always changing. Love is patient and love is kind. Be patient and be kind to yourself. Be your own best friend. Remember, you cannot have a happy ending to an unhappy journey. It is about the journey. You've been listening to Reality Spirituality Radio with yours truly, global happiness specialist, Rebecca L. Norrington. Remember, happiness is a practice skill. And I promise you, the more you practice, the more peace you're going to find. And your peace and your contentment reflects what you practice. Signing out. Have a conscious week.